Joey's falling in love with two women, and we are left with a cliffhanger. Welcome to Playing the Field, a Bachelor podcast. I'm Ryan Field, the sports anchor at Eyewitness News here in New York. Joined now by the usual cast of characters, our Bachelor insiders, Jen Matarese from WABC here in New York, and Gina Sirico from our sister station, KABC in Los Angeles. And Gina is fresh off the red carpet at the Oscars. 36 hours later, the Oscar hangover is real.
She is very tired. She's very tired, but we had so much fun. I mean, as a fashion lover and a movie lover, I will say it was a lot of fun. And there is a Bachelor tie-in to the Oscars. I don't know if you saw. Did you see Jesse Palmer there? Was a special correspondent for Live with Kelly and Mark.
Love it.
And he did some interviews on the carpet, and it was fun. They showed it yesterday on Kelly and Mark's show, their after Oscar show.
Before we get to
always
all the...
an Oscar. Always an
Oscar, a Bachelor. There's a Bachelor tie into everything in life, I feel like. What was the best thing you saw on the red carpet, Gina?
Wow. Well, let's just put it this way. Carey Mulligan's dress had us... I was with the fashion team on the red carpet, and Carey Mulligan's dress basically had us all gasping.
Mm-hmm.
It was so beautiful. So beautiful. So, yeah.
Well, it was quite the night, and Monday proved to be quite the episode of The Bachelor. We started with 32 women, and we left last week at 3, and we are still at 3. Jen, I feel like every season we get the to-be-continued cliffhanger, and that was this episode here.
I saw that, and it's like, doom. You know, it's like, I just want to know. Just let us know who it is. But we have to wait.
And, Gina, you said you thought Jesse wrote the note, we need to talk, and it turns out you were wrong about that. It was not Jesse.
No. Did I say that? Yes. Jesse wrote that note to me.
We need to talk.
We need to talk about your thoughts on The Bachelor.
Best
no, I thought it might have been Leia. I thought we didn't know. That was my original thought when we saw it early on in the season, this little teaser. But yeah, it's interesting that we now know who that is. I can't wait to see what she has to say about it.
Yeah.
Or what she has to say, because this is crucial. We're in a crucial moment here.
We are in a crucial cliffhanging moment, and this episode started with the fantasy suite the date with Rachel. They're in Tulum. They've made their way down to Mexico, and Rachel and Joey go platform diving, or jumping, we should say. They did dive off the first platform, but they go jumping off the next two. Rachel hurts her jaw. They end up in the hospital. And Jen, do you think that kind of threw off the mojo for the whole date, because things kind of felt awkward after that, because she felt awkward that, she wasn't feeling her best and kind of sabotaged their date, if you will, a little bit. And Joey was kind of like, is this really happening right now? I'm trying to be supportive, but man, this is messing up our one day together in paradise.
Yeah, and I think he also felt awkward that she kept apologizing.
Yeah, right.
There's nothing she could do. It's just one of those things. And I actually like when this stuff happens on the show, because that is real life. The stuff just happens, and it's all in how you deal with it and how the person you're with handles those situations. So it gives you a little glimpse of how things could be in their real life outside of this show.
I'm still upset about today. I think I still feel bad that I ruined the date, because I don't know, you had the whole day planned, and I was waiting all week for it, so I was really excited.
I don't want you to feel bad, though. That's the thing, is that means that you think you did something wrong when you say you feel bad. You did nothing wrong.
Well, yes, but the day, the whole day changed because
of something that was a freak accident that you didn't try or expect to happen, and that's life.
And I like how the doctor just came in from out of nowhere in the middle of the jungle in his scrubs with a jaw test, Gina.
The Bachelor team is prepared for anything and everything. Got to make sure.
What was your overall take on that date?
So first I'm going to go back quickly to her conversation with Susan. They brought some of the Golden Bachelor women
3
back.
women, yes, which was very cool.
To have conversations with each of the remaining women here, Joey's women. Susan, she's got a special place in my heart. I just love her. I find she's so refreshing and fun. I love the fact that I think she tried to ease Rachel's fears and told her to kind of let go and feel everything. And I loved that part. And she was doing that, obviously, as they were diving off of things. I love the fact that Joey was so supportive. This was obviously unexpected, and Rachel was trying to, brush off this injury as like, I'm fine. And Joey was like, you know what? No, you're not. And I want to make sure you're taken care of. And isn't that what everybody wants in a partner?
Yeah, and I thought this once again just showed the type of guy that he is and why so many women have really fallen in love with Joey this season in terms of falling in love with him as a bachelor, because he is really, I don't want to be cliche and say the dream guy, but he is a guy that every woman would love to date because of how he handles certain situations, whether it's conversations or whether it's what we saw in Tulum with Rachel. But I thought one of the most revealing things about Susan's chat with Rachel is something we touched on last week. Hometown, she kind of alluded to some things that had happened in her past with previous relationships. And Jen, we find out she's been cheated on not once, but twice by 2 different guys. So that kind of provides some clarity into her mindset going into this entire show.
Yeah, I think being on a show like this is really hard because he's dating all these other women. And when you get to this point in the show, it probably could feel almost like he's cheating on you with the other
Exactly. How could she not feel that way?
But I mean, this is what she signed up for. So I think she does have that perspective. It's just hard. I think it's just hard and there's nothing she can do about that.
Yeah, I agree. And she mentioned that she knows that it's not the same thing, obviously, as cheating. But you can understand where when you get to this point that it would evoke those feelings of like, I'm being cheated on, because he's spending time with other women. So I felt for her in that moment. And we also kind of see like now why she's a slow burn.
Yeah.
She takes time to trust people. And I don't blame her. You know what I mean? When you have relationships like that, where you have been cheated on in important relationships in your life, I get why she takes her time. It's understandable.
And Joey said he appreciates the slow burn, so they have a great night in the fantasy suite. And I think the biggest takeaway is she says that she loves him, but Joey doesn't exactly say that back to her, which, as we talked about at the top, he does say that to the other 2, which kind of gives us an indication where this is going to go, Jen.
I feel like that. I also wonder, was stuff said that they didn't tell us? We don't necessarily know because the cameras
have been known to do that, right?
They are sneaky.
Yes.
So, these editors.
Some creative editing, Gina.
Sneaky.
Yeah. Yes,
they are very sneaky sometimes, like making us think that somebody was going to come back for the note. But we'll get back to that later. But no, I agree. Those overnight dates are key for the couples because they get to talk off camera and literally talk about things that, when you're at this stage in the show, that really matter in moving the show, in moving the relationship forward. And so for that, obviously we don't get to see all of that. And if she came out feeling hopeful, then you just got to wonder what was said.
Yeah.
But,
she was glowing.
I don't know. Yeah.
She was like all lit up when they were saying goodbye.
Was that from the meds from her jaw, maybe?
It could have been.
That might have something to do with it.
Possibly.
They definitely had a great night together. There's no doubt about that. And then, of course, the second date, Kelsey A., she has a chat with Leslie from the Golden Bachelor.
I wish I wouldn't have felt so confident.
Yeah.
Because then I was devastated.
Yeah.
Very, very sad because I was really in love with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I would not wish that on my worst enemy, to be honest. That feeling I had where I was confident and then that was it. And I would say just always have something in the back of your head that you might not be it. And then if you're it, it's amazing. And then if you're not, you have a little bit of protection.
Yeah.
And I feel like Kelsey was on the right track, and then all of a sudden, Jen, one conversation has her going sideways when Leslie talks about how she thought she was going to win and ended up in second place and was basically saying you should definitely be hopeful, but you should have a little bit in the back of your mind knowing that you might not be the one. And that little bit of self-doubt, once that creeps into the equation, can really throw everything off.
It is just growing in her brain.
Yeah.
And you can see her struggling. And I think she kind of drew the short stick on this Golden Bachelor.
Of the 3 she could have spoke to,
Yeah, I felt like Susan gave the best advice, then Sandra, then Leslie. And it was such a bummer for her because I think she was so positive. She was so hopeful. She really likes Joey. And then now she has to think about, like, maybe it's not me, maybe it's not me, maybe it's not me. You know?
And Gina, I guess it's one of those things where you want them to give advice, and that's why these women have come back from previous shows, and in this case, it's the Golden Bachelor. But sometimes maybe they say either too much or say the wrong thing that can really throw somebody off course altogether.
Well, look, here's the thing. I would bet that all three of these women have had those thoughts. Like, what if it's not me in the end? You know what I mean? When you've gone this far, I'm sure that this is what they're all thinking is like, yes, it's me, but there are these other women there. And so I think this conversation with Leslie just, and that little moment really just stuck with Kelsey and is now in her head, and it's really playing mind games. And we haven't seen that from Kelsey really letting things really get to her. This did, and it's understandable that it would, because we are so far along in the process. And the next thing is she could be engaged. And so it's understandable.
Absolutely. And it's human nature is kind of, playing a big part in all this. And she cried at dinner for the first time, not crying about her mom, but crying about what Leslie said to her. And I think in her heart of hearts, she wants to be all in on Joey. And she was hoping Leslie was going to be basically like Daisy's dad. Shoot your shot. Just go ahead and give it all you have. But instead, Leslie was real with her. And I respected Leslie for telling her that, because Leslie can only speak to the same experience that she went through. But at the same time, I was really feeling good about Kelsey in this entire situation, Jen, until that conversation.
I know. And I felt like Joey listened to her and tried to make her feel better, but then kind of turned it around and started talking about himself and his fears. And then she's like, well, I guess I need to make him feel better now. So,
or was he just saying that because he wanted her to know that he also has some fears about this situation?
But I think she really needed the reassurance, and I don't know that she fully felt she got that, which is why she wrote the note.
Gina, what's your take?
But the thing is, in the history of The Bachelor, we don't really see the lead saying you're it, or we don't see it on camera anyway. We don't always see that, and it's hard because it's a show, and for him, he can't tip his hand. And I understand where they're all coming from. And I understand why she would need reassurance. But again, if you think back to Leslie, Gary was giving her that assurance, is what she was telling us. And she ended up not being the person in the end. And so, it's understandable where she would start, Kelsey would start to feel doubt. I get it. My heart went out to her, and it was very uncomfortable because none of us have had doubts about this connection between Joey and Kelsey all this time. And now she's starting to feel the doubts. And now we're all kind of like, wait, what's going on?
And go ahead, Jen.
Oh, I was wondering if even she might have thought, why did they send Leslie to talk to me? Is she trying to tell me I could be, is there some kind of second place thing brewing I wasn't aware of? I don't know. Maybe she was getting in her head with that.
And that's a good point, because the producers, things happen for a reason on this show. I think we can all agree with that. Everything is kind of pre-thought out. So I don't think they just drew straws and said, okay, this is which Golden Bachelor, former contestant is going to speak to each one of these individual ladies. I think this was very preconceived, if you will. But to Gina's point, we don't often see the Bachelor tip his hand, but then there he was saying, I'm falling for you, and has all these amazing things to say about Kelsey. And I love their fantasy suite date. And I love how they showed them making breakfast the next day. I was happy to see people actually eat real food on the show. That was something we don't see ever. So I think there was so many good things to come from that fantasy suite.
Morning was so
cute. It was so
really
real life,
sweet.
Wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It's funny. At one point, when Joey was here in LA, we interviewed him, and I was asking him some rapid fire questions. I said, would it be dinner out? Would you do prefer dinner out or, dinner at home, with you cooking? And he was like, I can't cook, so it would have to be dinner out. So watching him try and cook the eggs or break open the egg, I'm like, there he is.
There he is.
You're right. You can't cook.
Yeah.
But it was funny, but there you go. There's something that. Those moments felt very real. It's just what a boyfriend and girlfriend would be doing. It's cooking breakfast in the morning, worrying about the crispy bacon and, getting shells in the egg. And, it was very, very cute and sweet and real. Hopefully it did it offset the feelings of concern that Kelsey had? Maybe, maybe not.
Maybe not, because the note was written after that, and we'll get to that in a second. So that brings us to Daisy. She talks to Sandra, and Sandra was almost like Daisy's dad, not so much saying to shoot your shot, but like get more physical, like push this relationship, see what's there, see what you have. And I think that was a great thing for Daisy. But I guess coming off of the Kelsey date, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, Joey can't tell Daisy that he's also falling for her. And then he went ahead and did it. And I said, wait a minute, what is going on here?
You shared that you had real feelings and that you were falling in love with me. And I couldn't tell you how great it was to hear it. I think I said that I feel the same way. Regurgitated it, just like word vomit type thing, because I have been holding back because I am scared, and I'm hopeful that this will work out, and I want to make sure when I say it, it holds the correct amount of meaning and I say it correctly.
Yeah.
And I am falling in love with you, and it has been building for a while. It's not a doubt that it's there. It's just how far it will grow.
I mean, I guess it's in theory you could be falling for two women at the same time. Those are real life issues. Not sure I've been down that road before, but listen, could it happen? Absolutely. But to tell two women that in a span of, we think, 24 hours, I was very shocked by that whole thing, Jen.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big reveal for each of them. They both kept saying, you know, I'm falling for you. I'm falling in love with you. And they seemed to have a really good connection and be on the same page, which is good. Like, if it almost seemed like Daisy's kind of moving ahead in the
right.
at this point, like where before she was playing catch up. But I don't know. What do you think?
And I think, too, it goes back, Gina, to what we saw in her hometown when she said she almost needed her family's approval. And once her family signed off on Joey, it's all systems go. And she's like, this is my man. I'm going to go get him and do whatever I can to make that happen. And we saw that on their date.
Yeah, I mean, the walls came down. She was so worried and so guarded for a while about, or just not letting us know, you know, that she was really feeling what she was feeling. And I think maybe once, you know, her dad said, shoot your shot and, you know, go for it. And we're all behind you, you know, that did get her, you know, to that next level of being able to say everything that she was feeling, which is important.
All I know is 3 overnight dates, 3 straight days with 3 different women. This is why I stick to women and not guys. Joey can't be trusted.
Wait,
what?
what
A playboy. I do not condone this behavior in the least bit.
I believe that is part of the show, though. I think that's kind of the whole premise.
Of course, if I was the Bachelor, I'd be all in on that. Come on now.
Of course.
I'm just trying to save face here for our female audience.
I thought it was funny that Joey said, you know, he recognized that the last time he was with Daisy, he said, I feel the same way. And he apologized and said, I should have said.
Yeah, right. That's a good point.
That was really nice that he did that, I think, for her, you know?
And I mean, I guess you're thinking after the breakfast and everything with Kelsey, you're like, okay, this is it. Game, set, match. And then all of a sudden he tells Daisy the same thing. And then all of a sudden, we've been talking about this or kind of alluding to it this entire podcast thus far. He alludes to the fact that, all of a sudden, she writes the note, we need to talk. So he comes back feeling great from his date with Daisy. And then he's like, towards the end, was that in the trailer for next week when he said, I'm so over this or something like that?
I think so. Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
He must be feeling like, well, is she going to leave? It raises a lot of questions for him.
Well, obviously from what he went through from his own experience last season, Gina, and he keeps talking about that, like, you know, I'm so afraid to love someone and not have it returned. And now maybe this is like, oh no, here we go again for Joey. This note is a sign of things to come.
Yeah, you know, he has said throughout this whole season, he needs to feel confident in the relationship to be able to move forward. And this felt like a bit of doubt. He said, you know, how many times have we all gotten notes, by the way? How many times when somebody says we need to talk, is it good news? Probably not.
Probably
not.
And
he said that. You know, he said that. He's like, it rarely is good news. And so it's understandable that now he's in his head. You know, but Kelsey also is in her head, and I get that. You know, we'll see next week what what all happens. I can't wait.
I can't wait. They left us with a
no.
to be continued. So I take it this is going to be, as we saw, let's go ahead and we'll play the trailer for next week just so people can get an idea of what's to come.
Welcome to Women Tell All! All of your favorite women from the season return.
You're really annoying. No, don't roll your eyes, Missy. I can't talk to her. Grow the up, bitch!
And they're ready to tell it like it is. Does Lexi regret leaving Joey?
I am just on a different timeline. Did I make the right decision?
Is Jen still heartbroken?
I just hope that I find someone as special as him one day.
And then there's Maria.
Bully is a big word, okay?
I also felt bullied as well.
Just you, I don't want to hear from.
And what will Sydney have to say?
I cannot sit there and let a mean girl be a mean girl.
How are we doing, ladies?
This is tough for me.
Okay.
She's a vampire.
Plus, that note from Kelsey.
Do you want to go talk?
Yeah.
What happens next?
Kelsey.
Joey, you okay?
No.
And then, Joey's journey comes to an emotional conclusion.
The way she looks at you is different.
The reason why I doubt if someone's going to say yes has to do with what I still feel about myself. There is still just a little glimmer of doubt because the last time I did this, someone said no. And I was heartbroken.
How will it all end?
I didn't expect that at all. I can't think that's happened before. Oh, God.
You think you know what happens? Guess again.
So we get the Women Tell All next week. So I'm guessing it's going to be 1 hour of Women Tell All and then 1 hour of this episode. Or are we going to do it back to back? Gina, do we know the scoop with that? Is it going to be a Monday, Tuesday?
No, it's all one. It's all one episode. During Women Tell All, you will see obviously the conclusion of what happened. We'll see Kelsey's conversation. Obviously, as you saw in the trailer, you'll see the women hash out everything that they had to hash out. There's a lot that happens. All I can tell you right now, the episode is emotional.
The Women Tell All episode?
The Women Tell All, yeah. So Women Tell All, the whole Women Tell All will include the note conversation.
Okay.
And the rose ceremony. So during Women Tell All, you will see all of that play out. And then, yes.
That's going to be a lot. Is that a 4-hour episode on Monday? I hope so.
No, it is a 2-hour episode.
Wow.
It is action-packed. I'll just say that. We see a lot of our favorite women back to have conversations. You'll see a few of those women in the hot seat with Jesse. It is, like I said, there's some drama involved. We rehash the drama. We, see some real emotional conversations. And I think it'll answer some questions. We'll just put it that way.
Who are you most excited to hear from, Ryan?
I'm most excited to hear from Jen, I think. I know you guys are surprised to hear me say that.
I am shocked by that.
Yeah, because I still thought it should have been Jen over Rachel. I really did. And Gina, I know you love Rachel, but I thought it should have been Jen. And I thought that they had a much better connection, especially going back a couple episodes when he said he was over the moon, however he phrased it, when Jen said that she was falling for him. And he was so excited about it. And I want to know what happened between that time and when she went home, because something just doesn't add up, because I never saw the spark with Rachel that I saw with he and Jen. And I'm going to stand on this soapbox until Jen comes back this season. And Gina, tell me that's going to happen.
Did you not see this episode with Rachel where they this is what I was hoping for all season in this episode, to see the connection between them. It's there. Like we saw it a little bit last week too in the hometown. We see it now. We understand why they care about each other the way they do. And again, these are Joey's feelings, and he's in his feelings, and he really does care about Rachel. I get that. I see it now more.
I think he cares about her, but I don't see the fiery passion that he has with the other ones.
And let me just say, during your entire explanation, Gina, Jen was shaking her head saying no. For the people that are listening on the podcast and can't hear or can't see us, I should say.
I didn't hear the rattle.
They did not see the head shake. So Jen and I are going to disagree with you on this one. But see, that's the best part of this podcast is we can all have varying opinions and we kind of all view this show, I think, through a different lens. And how I view things is going to be different how you view things and how Gina views things. But Jen, you're on my side with this one.
Yes, on this one, I have to be on your side.
Why are you so reluctant to agree with me?
Well, I like Rachel a lot. Like, I feel like
I do too. I just don't think they're good together is what I think.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, if she went to Paradise, I feel like I would love to see her have her pick of like a number of men and find her perfect match. Or if she were the Bachelorette, if this doesn't work out with Joey, I don't know.
We shall see.
I agree. I'm going to just say I feel like if Rachel was Bachelorette, she would be kind of along the lines of a Charity Bachelorette where she was no nonsense. She was, to me, I thought Charity was a great Bachelorette. And I think Rachel would
do back to back, though. Do we want that back to back, or do we want someone that's going to bring a little crazy to the party?
I vote for the crazy. It makes the podcast more interesting, too. We have to be selfish and think about the podcast, ladies, at this point. What's best for the pod is best for all of us.
Y'all are too much. I'm thinking of it of the show itself. I care.
Gina, you're the only level-headed one here. Let's be honest about that.
It's because I'm old.
Yeah. Speaking from experience, I can agree with you on that. Well, listen, we have a lot to look forward to. We've got Women Tell All. We've got the much-anticipated rose ceremony next week. So a whole lot still yet to come as we work our way down to the final two here, season 28 of The Bachelor. It's been a great season thus far. Another fun podcast in the books. For Gina and Jen, I'm Ryan. We'll see you back here for Play in the Field next week.